Hello, Courtney.
Hello, Kendra.
Thank you for joining me on Talking Ship today. I'm so excited to bring this to the masses. Thank you for agreeing to share your story with ShipBob. I really appreciate it.
Well, I feel honored that you asked me to do this, and I jumped at the opportunity. So I'm very happy and excited to be here. Hence my big smile.
Well, that's not the only thing you're smiling about. You just finished your second debut on GMA, right? Tell us a little
Yes,
bit more
yes. Good
about
morning, America.
that.
Oh gosh, it was a great experience. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of stress, a lot of work as well. Typically, when you see these brands on television and Good Morning America or getting all this press, you just think about them being out there. You never think about the work that actually goes in behind it. So it's been a lot of work, a lot of planning, negotiating, strategy, a lot of that stuff. So we're very excited and very privileged and honored to be able to be featured on Good Morning America twice.
Twice. Nice. So that's it's interesting that you said that. I mean, this isn't we want to talk more about shipping and ship out, but we usually when you see these cameos on, large press like that, you think they just kind of show up and smile and that's it. But obviously there's a
Yeah,
lot of footwork in the background that
definitely.
you weren't ready for before getting onto the show.
Right, right. Yeah, there's a lot of planning that has to take place.
Okay, okay, that's what's up. So, well, at least now you have ShipBob to help you fulfill those orders. And that's
Yes.
kind of, I want to speak more to that because the first time you went on GMA, you did not have ShipBob. So I want to highlight some of those advantages that you have now between your first debut and the second debut. So I would like to just kind of kick off our conversation with some of the advantages that you felt like you had right away and what more or less you actually came into fruition for you once you were in your second debut.
Yeah. Well, the first time around, we were featured by Good Morning America in June of this year, so just a few months ago, not very long ago, and it's such a long, complicated story. I actually ended up getting sick. My wife ended up getting sick, um,
Mhm.
and it was a terrible experience, just for us personally, and just the health challenges we were dealing with at the time. But we had major success with our sale being featured on Good Morning America Deals and Steals. And we didn't have a fulfillment company. We actually had to fulfill all of the orders ourselves. It was 5,000 plus orders that had to go out within 3 to 5 days. And that was a lot. That was a lot for two people. Now we definitely had employees. We had a team, that was helping us process and fulfill all of that. But with us getting sick in the process of that, it was tough. It was really really tough to do that, and we had to make a tough call, to actually cancel some of the orders, but because we just couldn't fulfill all of them. And so this time around, we did have the advantage of having ShipBob on board and on our side, and we had been planning for this for months. So in June, we actually knew that we were going to do the sale again, and we were planning for November, but we ended up doing it in October. And so this conversation with ShipBob, when you reached out to me, I didn't think I was ready for a third party logistics company like ShipBob, but we actually were. It was the right timing for us. And I actually talked to another company during that time, of our first feature, and it just wasn't the right timing. We weren't prepared for it. I didn't know the right questions to ask. It was just a lot of different things logistically that we didn't have in place. And so the second time around, I was a little more prepared to ask the right questions. Know what to look out for. How to predict some of the pricing as much as we could. And so I was definitely prepared. And so those advantages, honestly, we didn't have to do the work. That's the biggest advantage, of that. And when you have, 5,000 plus orders to fulfill within a couple of days, that's a lot of work. It requires a lot of manpower, requires a lot of planning. But thankfully, we did have, ShipBob there, and they were able to get out those thousands of orders seamlessly. So, very, very grateful for that, and happy that we did partner with you guys.
I'm so happy to hear that. And I didn't realize that you guys were sick. That's the downside of being an entrepreneur, right? Because if you guys fall short, then the whole operation definitely depends on that.
Right.
So just to hone in on why these services are important for small family run businesses. Well, you guys aren't a small business anymore. I don't even consider you a small business anymore. But family operation, when you have that dependency on a few people, it's nice to have that security and that contingency plan, because
Right.
it seems like you guys kind of blew up overnight. Vicky Cakes was already in existence for a couple of years before your debut on GMA, right? Tell me a little bit more about the roots, the grassroots, and how you guys got up until that point, because this wasn't
Yeah.
just you created Vicky Cakes and we're on GMA the next month. You guys
Right.
were building towards this opportunity.
We have been building towards this opportunity, and it has been a long journey, but it's been a very short journey, to be honest with you. We started the company in 2019. So just last
Oh,
year,
wow.
just
What?
last May, we started the
One
company. Yeah,
year?
it's 2019. 2019. So we're barely a year and a half, about a year and a half old now.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, it is. And I give you just a quick version of the actual story. My wife and I got married in 2009. She is from Gary, Indiana, and we visited her mom in 2013 for Thanksgiving. And her mom is Vicky, and Vicky cooked her famous pancakes that everyone loved there. And everybody's just sitting around the table, eating, laughing, creating memories. And I'm probably about 5, 6 pancakes in, and I'm thinking to myself, man, these are some really great pancakes. And so finally, I just burst out. I said, listen, these are the best pancakes I've ever had in my life. And I'm an entrepreneur at the time. So I'm thinking, like, I said, hey, we can make some money off of these things. These are not regular pancakes. We should call them Vicky Cakes. And we should package this. We should ship it all over the world, and we can get rich off of this pancake mix. So they just thought I was being funny and just trying to butter up the mother-in-law. There was a little bit of that in there, but they were really good. They were really good pancakes. And so fast forward a little bit, last year, after watching many seasons of Shark Tank, we'd always wonder, what can we do? What can we do? And I'd always say, Vicky Cakes. We need to start Vicky Cakes. So my wife decided she was ready. And within a month, I designed all of the labels, built the website. We had pre-orders, and we were up and running within a month's time. And we funded the business with the pre-orders, the money from the pre-orders, from those sales. And we invested $14 up front of our own money, and that was it. And it's just taken off ever since then.
What?
Yeah,
$14.
$14. Yep.
Man, so $14 investment, pre-orders to get everything started, and in 1 year you've quadrupled your sales and
Yeah, I
had two
mean, quadruple
debuts
is,
on GMA so far.
yeah,
That's insane.
yeah, it is insane. So we were featured by Good Morning America, twice, Good Morning Texas, the Food Network, Delish, Complex Magazine, and we were endorsed by Tabitha Brown, who's a vegan influencer, like the #1
Oh,
vegan
it's
influencer.
over. You put Tabitha on there, it's over. Like, I don't
Yeah,
care if she says you guys go out and buy this pink tissue, they're gonna be
yeah, they're gonna
sold
do it.
out. She has
Yep,
that brand power. I love her so much. I love
yeah,
Miss
she's great.
Tabitha.
She's
She's
great.
great. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
That's a dream. Like, seriously, that's a dream. So
Yeah,
going back to your family and sitting at the table, having that epiphany and having that vision with every bite, the initial reaction, apparently everyone wasn't taking you seriously. Where's the family members now? Are they the ones helping you? How much family power is actually involved in the business, and or
great
how much
question.
involved since then?
Great question. Great question. So Christian and I run the company together. She is the CEO, and I'm the COO. So I kind of run the operations side of the business and the business development and relationships and things like that. And so she actually runs the production, the manufacturing, because that's her That's her specialty. So, and she's the CEO of the company, which I think is phenomenal. She's a boss. I love it so much.
Love
But it's
that.
just us. But we definitely have the family support and blessings, and her sister is always there. She actually lives here in Texas with us. She lives in Irving, and we live in Dallas, in Little Elm. And so, but yeah, we definitely have the family support. But it's Christian and I. We ground it out every single day and night, and we're making it happen. But we're happy that we get the opportunity to help other families. Laugh together, eat together, build together, and create memories. Because our mission is to bring 1 million families back to the table for good food and good memories. And we want to be the global leader in pancake and waffle mix, by inspiring, family value and family tradition, all of those things that we kind of gotten away from as a culture. So that's what Vicky Cakes is all about.
I love it. I love it. Speaking of Texas, you guys are actually using one of our facilities in Texas. What does that process look like for you? Was that an easy transition? What does that operation piece look like, having the convenience of a third party near your manufacturing? What does that look like for you?
The word is convenience. It's very convenient. Our facility is about 7 miles away from
Wow.
you guys' facility, so it's very convenient for us. Because I actually took a shipment, and I wanted to do this. I took a shipment on Friday, this past Friday, because you guys ran out of one of our products. So I was like, well, let me pack a couple of pallets and take it over there. And I got to meet some of the people there at the facility.
Nice.
They didn't know it was me, but which I thought it was kind of cool, a little undercover boss thing. But it was really cool. Everybody was very cordial and very nice. And so what we do is we manufacture the product at our facility, then we pack it in boxes. We put boxes on a pallet. We shrink wrap the pallet, and then we either do one or two things. We hire a carrier. The carrier will come pick it up from us and deliver it to you guys over in Carrollton, and or we will deliver it ourselves. And so we've done a mix of both of those. So from a high level, that's really what that operational piece looks like for us.
Love it. I think that's the best part, especially when you talk about family run. If I could just quickly go drop this off and reduce the stress of, like you said, hiring a carrier and also the overhead in hiring a carrier too. I mean, it's
Right.
only a 7 mile drive, but still I can imagine for a couple of pallets and moving them,
Yeah.
that still puts a little dent in your in your operations budget. So that's pretty cool. One of the other things that really stuck out to me when we talk, so I'm a BDR, right? I'm a business development rep. I make these cold calls every day. But your story was very, very strong, obviously. And I think that's why you've had so much success so far. Your story is amazing. Just having good family time. And when you think about Thanksgiving, it's always everybody laughing and joking around the
Yes.
table. So when we connected, one of the things that immediately stuck out to me was like, hey, are you aware that how this could come into play, being that you have so much exposure and multiple channels and things like that? How were you managing like your inventory? How are you managing these multiple sales channels that you had before ShipBob, and what was that transition like? Because those are some of the things that I highlighted on our call. Just like, hey, you're everywhere. How are you doing this? What does your internal system look like to keep up with everything?
Man, that's a long story, to be honest with you, and it has not been easy. This very thing has kept me up at night and has kept me up in the afternoon, in the morning, like all day, trying to figure this out, because I know what I want it to be like. And to rewind a few months, we did not have a system at all for inventory management. It was essentially, and you mentioned another thing too, being on multiple platforms. And so I've tested a lot of different software. I've tested software that will allow you to push inventory levels out to your different sales channels. And it would actually automatically update those channels. So there is software for that. I've tested it. It worked, but it just didn't fit my need at the time because my biggest problem was managing all of the inventory that I had on hand, like the inventory that I could physically see. That was the challenge for me. And so the challenge I overcame by implementing just a very, very simple system. There's a piece of software that couples the manufacturing piece and the inventory management piece. And so whenever I manufacture products, I'm then able to put those products into inventory, and I have a complete system that I can update my inventory, and then I can connect that system to a system like ShipBob, and then have those two interacting with one another. So it's definitely been a long journey to kind of get to this point, and I'm definitely not exactly where I want to be with that. There's still a lot of work to do with it, but we're still working on that piece.
Okay, that's awesome. Like that's one of the things. So the whole purpose of this Talkin Ship platform is really wanted to put a lot of information out there because on a high level, logistics and working with the 3PL seems relatively straightforward. And most of the people I talk to, they're like, yeah, I'm aware of what a 3PL is, or maybe they don't know what a 3PL is at all. And I made it my personal mission, especially for Black owned businesses, because I know there's no general information out there to address some of the issues like you said. Like we had a oh shit moment. We had to cancel orders. We just didn't have simply enough manpower. And look how fast you grew. People are thirsty to support these communities. They want to see our communities thrive. And it's so important that we are ready, because once it's time to be ready, you really don't have a whole lot of time to get inventory management in place. You don't have a lot of time to figure out, can I afford warehousing? Or maybe you don't even have the funds to do those things. So we're really boots to the ground, strap for strap, working on scraps, trying to build our business. You start out with $14, which is, our mind is still blown about that. So I wanted to start these conversations just to air out what is out there, get it from the mouth of those who are actually successful in the things that they had to go through to not only realize what they needed, but how they overcame these challenges, and to inspire, encourage others that you don't have to do everything on your own, which I think is a general mentality in the African American community when we think about starting family run businesses. When we first start out, we think that we're going to do everything from A to Z forever. Like we're going to own every piece of this business. We're going to own every part. We're going to only hire people in our communities. But once we get into the thick of it, we realize that we have to work a lot smarter, and our time is valuable doing other things to build our brands. Like you had to fly out to get on Good Morning America. Who's running your operation on the floor while you're away? So I just think that broadening the visibility on the technology that can help us work smarter, and partners that can still give your brand that homemade feeling without taking that brand awareness away, which is where Vicky Cakes thrives. Like we really tack on to your story. So what ShipBob does, we don't overpower that. It doesn't go in a ShipBob box, right? When people open the box, they get in the Vicky Cakes experience. If you guys have branded boxing, that's what they're gonna get. Like they are excited for Vicky Cakes, not for ShipBob. They're like, ShipBob, who? That's just we don't even know. It doesn't even matter who we are at this point.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
all about you and our brand merchants. So what would be some of the things that you would encourage Black entrepreneurs to do as they are finding out that things aren't as straightforward when it comes to working with the fulfillment company? How can they better prepare themselves or open up the floor to learning more?
Great question. I'm always a student. I always posture myself in a student mode, and I'm constantly learning about things that I have no idea of, or things that I've never heard of. There's a lot of stuff that I'm constantly learning. So that would be my number one piece of advice to, any entrepreneur, is to posture yourself as a student to learn as much as you can, because when you're venturing into new territory, there are going to be things that you don't know. And in order to get to where you really want to be, you have to do some things that are unfamiliar to you and uncomfortable to you. And so you should get comfortable with asking tough questions, get comfortable with asking quote unquote silly questions that, it sounds like a silly question, but it's, a common question, right? And so I have, in talking with different companies and different software companies and technology, I'm always asking any questions that pop in my mind, because I know that my job is to glean information from them as much as I can. And so I would certainly encourage entrepreneurs and small business owners to learn as much as you can, Google it, ask questions. Even if you have to get on like demo calls just to like scope out and be a spy to get information, just to learn about certain things that we're historically not predisposed to, right? Like coming into this industry, I had no idea about, 3PLs to a certain extent. I've worked with some branding and marketing for a third party logistics company, but getting into the thick of it, as you say, there was a lot of stuff that I just wasn't aware of. And so, as Black entrepreneurs, we aren't predisposed to this information. We can't pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, do you know a 3PL company I can use? Like, who do you use for your 3PL? We just don't have the ability to do that. So that's one thing that I would say. Another piece of advice I would have is have a global vision, right? Have a global vision with local execution. And this is what I love and what really intrigued me about using a 3PL like ShipBob is that I can ship products to Canada if I want to. I can ship products to California, to New York, all over the country. But guess what? I can also ship products up the street to Dallas and up the street to Plano or Carrollton. And so ShipBob enables the possibilities to ship products all over the place, all over the world, but at the same time have this local feel where I can get in my truck and drive some products to Carrollton to the facility, right? And so for me, it's a dual dynamics, and that's really something that you definitely want to look forward to. And I love the footprint that ShipBob has, globally, nationally, and locally. And so have a global vision with the local execution. And also what I mean by that is look at the big companies of, that are in your industry, the titans of the industry, and see what they're doing. And then take what you like and apply it to your business on your scale, right? The thing that I always say to my friends and people that I talk to about this, we're building the next PepsiCo. If you look at PepsiCo, they have a main product, which is Pepsi, right? But they also have all of these subsidiary companies under it: Frito-Lay, Stacy's Chips, Quaker Oats, Mountain Dew, Gatorade. They have all of these other companies. And so they've diversified, their portfolio. And so that's something that I want to do as well, with Vicky Cakes and they've built a culture, around Pepsi. It's not just a soda, it's a culture and a community. And so that's why I say we're building the next PepsiCo. And so I look at Pepsi and see what they're doing, and I'm like, okay, what can I do, right, on my level and my scale? So that's another piece of advice that I would give. I can do this all day long, Kendra. I have so much.
look, I'm eating it up. I'm eating it up for real. Like when you said culture, that definitely stuck. That's gonna be my next question for you. How are you building that culture? Because I think we all go in with the intention to build a good culture. But what does that really take? How does the time that you have now help you shape this culture? As a first major entrepreneur in your family, right? It's a lot. Like we have a ShipBob culture here. It's very open, but that took the right people, time.
Right.
How do you do that in the Black community? What does a large scale Black community culture look like?
That's a very dynamic question. And it really starts with knowing your culture, as a company, and knowing your values, because that's the foundation, right? Like that, everything is built on top of that. And so when we started this company, we knew what our culture was going to be. not right out of the gates, but we knew we had a general idea that, you know what, this is our culture is good vibes. It's, you know, you wake up on Saturday morning, the sun is shining, right? You make yourself some pancakes, or your partner or your wife or your mom make you pancakes, and you just come downstairs and you just like, man, it feels good. It's Saturday. I don't have
Yes.
anything to do today. I'm just hanging out, right, with my family or my friends, and we just chilling, having fun, creating good memories, right? That's the culture that we want to build. And we knew that in the beginning. And so that informed the way our brand looked. That informed what colors we used. That informed, you know, the strategy that we use on social media and how we word things. We want our customers to feel like our cousins, right? Like,
Yes.
oh yeah, Tracy
I
Miller. I
get
know
those.
Tracy
I get those
Miller, you
vibes.
know?
You're executing
Yes.
that well, because it's all about family on your Instagram page. Whenever whoever you're working with, collaborations, like, we're family. Let's do this together. And
Hmm.
I know it's definitely a lot to say about Black culture. When you say know your culture, Black people are all
Yes.
about good food. Like, that's what we do. I
Yes.
come from a big
Yes.
family. Every Sunday when my grandparents were living, we were at my grandparents' house to eat. Like you said, good vibes.
Hmm.
Just, over food. It's always good feelings, good memories, good laughs. Like, nothing brings
Right.
people
Right.
together like food does, right? So I think every
Yeah.
culture can
That's right.
appreciate that, which is why they could appreciate Vicky Cakes. And then Black culture specifically really appreciating Vicky Cakes, because there just aren't that many Black owned. Are there any other Black owned pancakes on the shelves in major
There are a few.
retailers?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there are a few. Not in major retail. We'll be the first. I'm gonna put that out there. We'll be the first.
Claim it.
But
Claim it.
but yeah, there are some other black-owned pancake mixes, black-owned syrup companies out there as well. There's only one that I know of that's doing pancake and syrup. And so we're actually launching a syrup this fall. Very, very excited about that. And
Yes,
so we'll be one of the few.
congratulations.
Yeah, and I really believe that, we have something very unique about us and very unique about our story and about our approach to it, because we're not selling pancakes mix. We're not selling waffle mix. We're not selling syrup. We're not selling pancake rings. We're selling the value, and we're selling the culture of it. And I don't mean that in a negative way. People buy your story. They don't buy your product, right? They always buy your story. When we were out last summer, we did a lot of events, a gang of events, like live events before COVID-19 happened. And people just loved the culture and the vibe that we had, during our events, that we would be outside, right? We have our tent up, we would have our griddle, and Christian would be just flipping pancakes. And we would literally stay out for 8 hours just giving away pancakes, just cooking pancakes, giving them away, stopping and talking to people, and just having a really great time, laughing and having fun. And before every person left, they always bought. They tasted the pancake, they always bought the product, because we didn't lead with the product, we led with the passion. And that's something that's very important. And a piece of advice that I would give is stand in who you are, know who you are as an entrepreneur. Don't be afraid of who you are. Present that, because people will appreciate it. Your culture is unique. The things about you that are unique, present that to the world, and people are always going to appreciate that, right? Because you're always going to just look, for example, look at Cardi B. Like, she is a very, very unique person, right? There's
Yes.
nobody else like her.
And they love
I
her
can't name
for it.
anybody. People love Cardi B all around, like on every platform, every race, ethnicity, every background. People love Cardi B, right? And so she is actually one of the people that inspires me, to be myself. And so I wanted to take that same approach, to Vicky Cakes, as my personal mission. I just wanted to bring in, that coach, and just stand on who we are. And, if people don't like it, then they just, hey, this is not for you, and that's okay. But we want it to be a black owned brand that is for everyone, and
Yes.
not only for the black community or for black consumers, but we wanted to bring our culture and our vibes and our the things that make us unique, from our upbringing and experience on a global scale. And people really do appreciate that.
And it's evident, right? It's definitely evident.
Yeah.
Now, investors, um, because I feel like that's a very hot topic right now for Black entrepreneurs, especially Black women, being that they only secure 1% of investments for the most part when you're looking for a round of funding. You guys did it organically, but with scaling and growth, I'm sure there's going to come a point in time where you actually do need a nice chunk of resources. How does ShipBob does ShipBob help you look more attractive? And what other type of collaborations or partnerships could help you look more attractive to an investor? Because outside of the culture, outside of everything looking pretty, they really
Yep.
want to know what's going on in the background that people can't see.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
helped you on that front?
We actually, in the first, I think, 2 months, like in the first 2 months of our company, we had two offers from investors. One of
Okay.
them, the first one, we didn't accept. It was ridiculous. But the second one, we accepted. So we did get an investor like within the first 2 to 3 months. It was startup capital. I mean, it's long gone by now, but it was startup capital, and so we did get an investment there. And we have went through some more funding options as well. And so one of the things that is important as you scale your company, going back, one, again, having that culture on social media. If you're approaching retailers want to know, at the end of the day, they only want to know two things. Can you actually produce what you're selling, and will people buy it? And so if you can prove those two things, if you can stake your operations on those two things, you're going to be solid. And so the first one is, can you actually produce the volume that we need? Even distributors, not just retail, but wholesalers, distributors, suppliers, they all want to know that if you can produce. And so one of the things that we're planning to do is incorporate automation into our manufacturing process. And so that makes us more attractive to investors and to buyers as well. And then actually delivering on the product, right? Like you can create something, but if you can't get it to the hands of the end user, and you got to know that people are going to buy it. You got to know that people want it. And so what we've done is created a culture on social media that directly leads to sales for us. And there's thousands. I mean, there's so many reviews and so many consumers that post their pictures of pancakes and their breakfast on social media and tag us. That's very, very attractive to buyers, to wholesalers, to retailers. And so when you're talking about really scaling a company, like say like to Walmart, we wanted to be a supplier for Walmart, right? But in order for us to be a supplier to Walmart, we got to have a 3PL company who can help us scale our business, because Walmart, they don't order 100, 200 products at a time. They're going to order thousands of products at a time. And so you got to have the infrastructure in place in order to get products from Vicky Cakes in Texas to Walmart facilities all over the place, right? And so ShipBob does allow us to ship out those products and move them around the country as we need to. And we actually are sold on Walmart Marketplace. And so when the time comes for gasoline to be poured over that, right, we now have a partner in place that can ship these orders out, same day before 12 or next day after 12, right? Like that really helps us and then really empowers us. And so without a company like that, there's a lot more money that we would have to put, into the pot, a lot more operations, employees, all of this stuff that we would have to, to have in place in order to have that same level of fulfillment. And so all of that makes you more attractive to an investor, because an investor only wants to know, can you sell this and when can I get my money back? That's what they want to know, the return. And so, and it's all like a spider web. It's all a big piece to the puzzle. And so every small piece to the puzzle, it really matters. And if there's one piece that's not right, then it can make everything crumble and it can make a deal fall apart. So having all of these things in place and being prepped to scale your company is what makes you, attractive to investors.
That's That's a whole head full of information there, because I think a lot of times we'll be ready when it comes, or we're always gonna be ready for investors. We're looking for investors, and you don't even realize you're not even set up to have the conversation yet.
Right.
So that goes back to you being a student and taking those demo calls, cold calls like me, and to interrupt your day and get in your business and be nosy about how you're doing things.
Yep.
Because really, even if you didn't work with ShipBob, I feel like there's still a lot of valuable information. Like, oh, how are you handling your inventory management? Do you have an ERP system? ERP system, what's that? So those questions lead to, okay, let me write that down. I need to look more into that, because maybe my vision isn't to work with the 3PL, but I know it's going to require me to, like you said, I need more employees. I need to be aware that I'm going to have to pay more payroll taxes. I need to be
Right.
aware that I need a forklift and all of these other materials to fulfill and run a warehouse operation. You have to be well informed about the steps on the pros and cons on both sides.
Right. Right.
So I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here and just end on this question. Why not stick strictly to direct to consumer sales? And the reason why I'm asking that is because I know working with wholesalers, they have very specific requirements, and they typically cut into your profit margins a little bit more. What do you say to, or why wouldn't you just hone all of the direct to consumer sales? You have a strong brand following. If they can only get it from Vicky Cakes, you're obviously making more money, because that's how direct to consumer sales work. You're getting organic web orders. Why not just make Vicky Cakes exclusive to VickyCakesOnline.com versus branching out into retailers?
Well, Kendra, as I mentioned earlier, we want to be the global leader in pancake and waffle mix. And you can't be the global leader, sticking to B2C, business to consumer. You have to be in all places. I want Vicky Cakes to be ubiquitous with pancakes, right? And in order to do that, my pancake mix needs to be in universities. It needs to be in hospitals. It needs to be in organizations. It needs to be in schools. It needs to be in prisons. I was at a store the other day, a restaurant store, purchasing some ingredients last week, I think. And there's this guy there that he recently been released from prison, and he was just helping me load my truck, and we were just talking, and he was like, what are you doing? Why are y'all buying all of this stuff? And I told him, we have a pancake and waffle mix company. He was like, oh my God, man, don't mention pancakes. He said, I ate pancakes every single day when I was inside. I don't want to see pancakes. I don't want to smell pancakes. And for me, I was like, aha. There's another market.
That's heard a new rock. I need to be selling. I need a contract.
I need a contract with the prisons. Like, they're eating pancakes, they're making it. They have to buy pancake mix. Why not buy Vicky Cakes, right? Like, so why not? So we want to be synonymous with pancakes, and that is the goal. So that's a simple reason. That's why we don't only stick to business to consumer. We want to go to B2B as well. Because we can't personally, Cortney and Christian and our small organization, we can't be everywhere, but I can connect with a distributor like a Cisco or like a US Foods, or, we've actually been approached by 2 Latin American distributors who want to sell our products in Latin America.
That's
right?
Cool.
They're in Latin America. I don't speak Spanish. They do, right? They know how to communicate to the consumers there, right? And so I can't be there, but they can. So it's about leverage, Kendra. You got to leverage the connections. You got to leverage every person that you come in contact with to help you get to where you want to be, and create a relationship. Relationship is so very important. So
with every person you come in contact with, I think we tend sometimes to dismiss, like, I don't need that. And a year later, you're like, dang, who was that I talked to? I don't remember exactly what, who they were, but I need that now. So no, thank you for noting that. Cortney, it's been amazing. I mean, we could go on and on forever, but I think some of the big takeaways here is that you were prepared for the unexpected, because you're always a student, always ready to take in this information. So I feel like that's the biggest takeaway. It's just, when unsure about anything, especially as a Black entrepreneur, you can't call and pick up the phone and call someone for a direct answer.
Right.
Take delivery calls, figure out what position you're in and where you need to be be better prepared for this, and always think on a global scale, because your brand is going to grow if you remain consistent. And family, anything built on family, I feel like has to thrive. It's just a blessing within itself. It just carries so much more weight and importance in the community, because I'm sure people at church and people in your community really look up to you guys and feel inspired by you guys. So every day you guys are inspiration. I personally have Vicky Cakes. I've sent them to my family personally, and my uncle who was released from prison. I put a pack of, I don't know if he hates me for that or not. I feel like they were getting an overload of pancakes, but I felt like it was special, and I felt like I was sending something special knowing your story. And of course it's special to me because I'm the one that put you on the ShipBob. So I'm gonna take all the credit for that.
You did. And I wasn't gonna take your call either. I wasn't gonna take that email, but I was like, I was driving when I got the email, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like I'm a very transparent person. When I saw your photo, so it came through and it was like ShipBob. I'm like, I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to set up another meeting. This was post GMA, like right after that, I think. And then I opened the email and I saw your picture and it said Kendra. I'm like, okay, she's a sister. She's a Black woman in tech. I'm definitely taking this call. Even if I don't even like use them, I want to take the call because I want to hear what she has to say, because I don't see it personally. I don't see many Black females or women in general in tech, especially Black women in tech and in software. And so when I saw that you were a Black female, I said, I absolutely have to take the call. I just at least got to hear her out to see what she's saying. And I was curious. I was like, I need to see what are they talking about? I know I'm not going to do business with them. I already know. But let me see what they're
Look
talking
at
about.
you now.
Yeah.
No, I was so excited. Thank you so much for that.
Tell them to get you a gift card or something. They need to give you a gift card or a day off or something.
Gift card? Let's do better than that.
Yeah, maybe a day off. Give you a paid day off. There you go.
Yes. No, I'm so glad we met, and it really is all to you, because like you were already mentally there. Like, let me open up my mind and see what she has to say. And we ended up having an amazing call. You had a lot of amazing good questions, some that I know I don't remember that I could answer, but the next person in line would be able to answer them for you. So, and you inspired me to start this segment. This is why we're sitting here today after our conversation.
Awesome.
And learning that, the limit of Black women in tech sales, it didn't dawn on me. I knew that, but it really didn't click for me until you said it. It's like, wow, there really is a lack of representation out there. And ShipBob has been generous and just gave me the floor. It was like, hey, this is something I feel like my people could appreciate and relate to. And if it's going to help them succeed in the future, then I feel like I've done my part, whether they're working with ShipBob or not. Like, these are conversations that need to be had publicly. So thank you so much for the inspiration and grinding every day to bring everyone happiness on a plate.
Oh, I love that. Happiness on a plate. I'm using that. You're going to see that soon. Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Tag me on the post.
I got you. Happiness on the plate.
Yes, that's what you guys are doing. Bringing Black joy to the plate. Something like that. Like, it's seriously amazing.
Black joy to the plate. Come on. You dropping them tonight. You dropping them.
Keep them coming. You're inspirational. This is you. This is the power of connecting. This is the power of conversation. Like, we inspire each other. We bounce off each other's energy, and I'm just all here for it. It's going to be so much more to come. I'm sure we're going to see you again. Good luck out there. Thanks again. Thanks for talking shit with me.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Peace.
Thanks, Cortney.